I think we have to realize that a lot of times, perception of us, perception of our goals, our aspirations, and anything that we want to do is going to be misconstrued. The only person that can truly understand who you are and understand you 100%, or at least get to, or at least with depth, is yourself. It only has to make sense to you. It only has to make sense to you. And I'm not talking about it in the sense of, don't listen to anybody, don't take anything in, don't listen to other people's perspective. But understand that when you are thinking of a new idea, when you are thinking of something to improve yourself, to better yourself, when you're putting yourself in a different avenue, when you're trying to change yourself, when you're trying to develop different skills and different motivations, it's not always going to be perceived the way you do. We have a way of putting ourselves in a certain situation and attuning it to how we think we can, and that's why I say it's important to realize that, you're full of potential, and you're full of possibility. To know it's humanly possible means you too can do it. But I feel like a lot of us put limits on each other and ourselves. And a lot of people, once they put limits on themselves, they're going to put limits on others. And that's not to say, check everyone else, but check yourself. Realize when people are somewhat trying to pull your strings, because it's not always going to be a clear path. Sometimes the path's not clear to you, and if the path's not always clear to you, it's not going to be clear to others. But it's not so much important the speed, it's important the direction. Making sure you're tending towards something or a general area which you choose to go to. And that's not saying abandon your job, abandon your whatever. It's saying bring in the realization that you're the one who has to really care. You're the important factor in your own success, and you are the sole person who can live out your potential and your possibility. No one else is going to do it for you, and if they do, all you're going to be filled with is envy. And it's about realizing whether or not you want to sit on your butt or you want to go out there and do what you were meant to do. And I know a lot of us don't know what we're supposed to do, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing on a regular day. But it's not about that. It's not about constantly trying to be anxious about your future and trying to determine which things are going to lead to what, because you won't know. Things are only as they are, and things will only be as they are, or as they be, I guess. It's about being present, being within the moment, realizing that this is all you control and this is all you can do. Doing everything that you feel like contributes to you in the moment, that makes you feel good now, but not in a sense that you're not valuing the future, or you're just doing stuff for short-term gratification, but having long-term goals and getting gratification from that. Like doing the little bits and pieces and parts, like working out one day. You work out one day, do a couple sit-ups, you won't get a six-pack tomorrow, but you can still feel good about the fact that you did those sit-ups. You can still feel good about the fact that you put in work into yourself. And I feel like type of gratitude makes it easier to move forward in your own path, makes it easier to walk in your own trail, because I feel like a lot of us feel like everything matters. And to some extent it does. Everything matters in the sense that everything's significant in its own way. But it's really about your perspective. It's significant both if it isn't and if it is. It's about whether or not you choose to interpret it a certain way. Everything exists in totality. And that's what I was talking about in my last video. It's kind of like a curtain and a veil, which you like tune into certain, levels of it. Bad things are always happening, good things are always happening. And it's about whether or not you have the strength, power, and perspective to view the good things. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be difficult. Sometimes circumstance holds us back, but those are the times where we need to be strongest. It's not necessarily an act of strength in being positive in a positive environment. It's an act of strength in being positive in a negative environment. And a lot of times our mind is the negativity. A lot of times our mind is that negative environment. And it's not necessarily because of us. It's because we try to make something make sense to everyone else when it only needs to make sense to us. And stop validating, your own ideas, thoughts, and perspectives and grounding them in other people's. It's about how you feel about it, how you are, how you bring that to life. Because it's your life. This idea is coming from you. This stuff is coming from you. These goals, these aspirations, this hope, this want and need for betterment. It's not constriction on other people. And that's not to say be selfish. And that's not to say don't care what other people think. You know, it's just take it with a grain of salt. Not everything is inherent to you. And not everything needs to be taken personal. It's not about making life personal. It's about making life intimate. I feel like a lot of us take life too seriously in the sense that we think everything is about us. And we think everything is inherent to us and everything means something. And everything means something, but doesn't have to mean something to us and about our character. I feel like we attribute to malice what we can attribute to ignorance. A lot of times in regards to situations. And I say malice because that's just like a quote, but malice can be interchanged with anything. You know, everything is just a reflection of someone else. And you need to make sure what's coming from you is from you, not from anyone else. You know, as long as you have yourself in your control, you control anything. You have everything at your disposal. A man is never alone if he has himself. And as long as you have yourself on your side, you always have a companion. It's so important to have yourself under your own jurisdiction. You know, to live through life and not acknowledge or validate anything you have to bring or to gain is a lonely life. You know, loneliness isn't just solitude. It's not liking who you are in solitude. Not liking who you are, void of all your distractions, void of all the stimulus, void of all the people that kind of build up your ego and boost you. Because at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't matter. It's about how you feel about you. And it has to make sense to you. It only has to make sense to you. How you are only has to make sense to you. How you love yourself only has to make sense to you. If I do a certain thing to help myself self-love and it brings me mental clarity, and I'm talking about healthy things, moral things, not crazy stuff. But like, for example, if meditation was a thing and I just meditated and it was on with other people like, why is he meditating? What is that? Like, what is he doing? That's weird. But it works for me, then it works for me. It's not about those external opinions. It's about how things make you feel. And it's not necessarily about outcomes. It's about how it makes you feel. I feel like a lot of us are focused on everything but the doing, but the becoming aspect of it, but the thing we can actually learn from. And once you get too caught up in that, you know, you cease to be. You start to be the embodiment of your anxiety about a situation, about what you want, about what you desire, rather than being the fulfillment of the desire, being the gratitude, being the discipline of the everyday, being present, being here. You know, I feel like the whole perception of our rewards kind of messes us up. You know, it makes us sort of attack problems more rigidly when we can, you know, more aptly attain what we want through passive skill. And when I say that, I mean that, you know, sometimes when we realize something big lies ahead of us, if we have a big goal or aspirations, we feel like we have to stress ourselves in our heads just to attain it. When that's not true. You know, just as easily as you can attain something small with the same skill set, you can attain something big. It's about putting it in perspective and realize that you're already doing it now. No, you're already somebody. You don't have to. That's not something you come into. There's no past self to overcome, and there's no future self to achieve. Everything you want and need is already here for you right now. And I know in this video I'm coming off like I'm talking at you. Bear with me. I just drove 3 hours, and I had to make a video. But that's not the point. The point is, you know, like I'll talk about my channel, for example. When I first started doing profile pondering like 3 years ago, there were people who were like, what are you doing? Like, what is he doing? Like, what is that? What does that mean? And then for like a good 2 years, it wasn't getting any traction. Yeah, I got some here and there, and I was grateful for every single bit I got. But I feel like it really wasn't until I realized that it only has to make sense to me. And this stuff is really about how I feel about it. You know, any type of expression, any type of thing you do that you put out, you have to appreciate if it's coming from you. I feel like appreciating what you put out is akin to appreciating yourself. Self-love is loving everything you put out. And it's loving the way you express yourself, negative and positive. It's not about being the shadow or being the body. It's about being both. Being the complete character. You know, not disregarding your shadow and act like every part of you is bathed in light, because it's not. You know, your shadow is cast because you exist. It's cast because you're material. It's cast because part of you shines. you know. And that negative part of you, that shadow, isn't at all negative. I feel like parts of the shadow, parts of yourself that you're hiding from yourself, because I'm saying shadow, parts of yourself that you're hiding, the parts of yourself that you don't want to address, a lot of times are the parts from your childhood, neglect, whatever you want to, attribute it to. But most of the time, that stuff can actually benefit you. Having it under your control, like those bits and inklings of your expressions, that childhood joy, that stuff that allows you to not take the world serious, but be serious when you need to be. Don't take anything serious unless you need to. And that's the way I've been living my life, sort of. Like, I do what I can. I take everything with a grain of salt. But it's not like just because I don't take everything serious, that doesn't mean I'm not trying. I'm making everything intimate. Everything is an expression. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. I always say, some people, what do I say? What do I say? I do what I can. Some people do what they do. I do whatever's in my power to sort of express myself. And some days that power looks different. Some days I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. Some days, but I still, find a way to do a little bit. Some days I have very grand plans for the day, and some days I don't. But it's about taking everything at face value. Each day is a new life, and realizing that regardless of what you do in a certain day, as long as you can, anchor it down and do something that means something to you, and try to learn a lesson and try to get something from each day, I feel like that's where you tend towards getting better. And at a point, when I made like this is just trying to go online video, I thought I had sort of an answer to it all. But the more I know, the more I don't. And I'm learning to love that. Learning to love that, nothing really is solid. Everything is just a big blank canvas that, we write on. But there's always more empty space. And there's always stuff to interpret. And it's about making it personal to you and realizing what parts of you are going to align with a certain idea. Some days you want to be part of this canvas. Some days you might want to start new. But every day is a new experience. Each day is a new life. And each one of your lives only has to make sense to you. It only has to be part of you. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Right after this, I'm about to put my new parts on my computer. Hopefully I can go live soon. I'm very tired. I might take a nap. I love you guys. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, honestly. I really hope all of you is doing well, taking care of yourself, being a friend to yourself, because that's really what's important. If you got anything from this video, just understand that, you have to sort of give yourself validation a lot of times. You can get it from other people, and it is somewhat, a good feeling to get it from other people. But trust me, once you get over that discomfort of giving yourself affection, giving yourself love, you realize there's nothing like it. That's not to say that any other source is bad, but to say that, everything is unique. So you have to appreciate each and every expression of it. So thank you. Keep being great. Keep being good. And if I keep going on, I can just say that